Good morning, children. How are you all? Hope you are all good. So, we are back into our classes, WhatsApp classes. Had a very good break. Hope that break you must have utilized for revising your chapter. So, if you recall, we ended where at chapter metals and non-metals. We were halfway through. So now today I'll be just starting my session with the recap of what we have discussed in the previous classes. So we were talking about chapter metals and non-metals. So what were those properties? First of all, we discussed about physical properties in comparison with non-metals. Then chemical properties of metals exclusively. Then we also discussed about reactivity series, and of course ionic compounds and the properties. Now just in brief I would like to just share with you what all we have discussed uh, in our previous class. So this was about physical properties. So if you see now here, we discussed about lustrousness, the hardness, the malleability, the ductility, conductivity, and the state of existence, and of course density. So here just one or two exception I would like to discuss. We know that all metals are hard, but there are exceptions like sodium and potassium, which can be easily cut with knife. Similarly, among non-metals, most of them are very soft, in the sense gaseous state, but diamond being the hardest metal. And then coming to the conductivity, all metals are good conductors. Again, exceptions you have lead and mercury, along with what has been mentioned here, bismuth and tungsten. In non-metals, all are bad conductors, but then graphite is a good conductor along with gas, carbon. So here, let us see about the chemical properties of the chemical properties of the metals. So we discussed how do they react with air, and how do they react with water, and how do they react with acids. So as we see, the lighter metals, that is sodium and potassium, they react very vigorously both with air, water, and even with acids. But as we go down, calcium and magnesium, the rate of reaction gradually keeps on decreasing. So by the time if you see, there is no reaction which observed in copper, mercury, silver, and gold. So this the chemical properties has led us to arrange the metals in an order of reaction, which has led to which series, reactivity series, in the in the decreasing order of their reaction. So highly reactive metals are potassium and sodium. Then come calcium, magnesium, followed by aluminium and zinc, where iron, lead, copper being the less reactive metals. Then here, here also you can see there is a display of the reactivity series of metals when they react with water, react with acids, oxygen, and air. Similarly, now what happens when metals react with non-metals? So they form a special kind of compounds called as what? Ionic compounds. So what are ionic compounds? When a transfer of electron occurs from a metal to non-metal. So that's why these ionic compounds are also called as electrovalent compounds. So when there is a transfer of electrons, so if you remember the first chapter, we discussed about cation and anion. So metals become cations and non-metals become anion, because metal will be giving the electron and non-metal will be accepting the electron. So here is one example in the on the display, where sodium is having one electron in its outermost shell, which is given to chlorine. So sodium attains a positive charge, becoming a cation, chlorine accepting a electron, becoming a negative ion called as anion. So this is another example of the same example in the form of shells. Okay, so this is another example, children, of magnesium reacting with the fluorine. So when magnesium reacts, magnesium having two electrons, so it will react with two fluorine atoms, since each fluorine can accept only one. So thereby forming a compound called as magnesium fluoride, which is an electrovalent compound. And then we also discussed about the the general physical properties of the ionic compound. So if you remember, they are mostly solids with strong interionic forces of attraction. So coming to their boiling and melting points, they have high boiling and melting points. Why? Yes, because they need large amount of energy to break the strong interionic forces of attraction. Then coming to solubility, readily dissolve in water or inorganic solvent like acids or bases, like acids, but they cannot dissolve in organic solvent. Coming to conductivity, very good conductors. And why they conduct electricity, children? Yes, they conduct electricity because when they dissolve in water, they easily dissociate to form ions which have a tendency to move very freely, thereby readily conduct electricity. So children, so we just today we just had a recap of all the key points what we have discussed. So let me just tell you what all are important from the examination point of view. The bits related from physical properties and especially the chemical properties, that is a reaction of metals with air, water and acid. So just kindly go through this, and especially with water we have regarding how the metals like sodium and potassium react and how do calcium and magnesium react. So we have discussed that how calcium and magnesium will start floating on the surface, and we know which gas is being involved when they react with acid, that is hydrogen gas. And similarly acids, metals, when they react with air, they are going to form metal oxides. And then as we go down, the reaction of metals with water will result in water, not in the formation of a base but rather in the formation of a metal oxide. Like example, your iron when reacts with water, it reacts in with state steam, thereby liberating water, forming water iron oxide, or that is nothing but your rust. So then we also discuss the reactivity series. This is also has given the reason for your displacement reaction. So as per the displacement reaction follows the rule of reactivity series, where yes, a less reactive element will be displaced by a more reactive element from its compound. Then coming to the ionic compounds, we discussed about the electron dot structures or the formation of the ionic compounds by electron dot transfer. Okay, so just practice those figures and give a thorough revision to this chapter till which point till ionic compounds. So in the coming class we will be discussing about how the metals would be extracted, and this was given for you as a PowerPoint presentation. Hope you must have all read that particular topic. You have already read in 8th standard. Once go through your 8th standard chapter metals and non-metals. Thank you. Have a good day.